Tell him about the time we faced doom.
All right. Well, as I remember.
At Avenger headquarters.
Because united, the Avengers are strong.
Welcome to the Marvel D&T Evolution podcast with myself, Andy Stead.
And I'm Jarian Gibson.
And I'm Alex Stroud.
Welcome back, guys. We left it an extra day to record this week after last week's mega news episode. We all needed an extra day to recover. That's how it felt. But yeah, we're back and we've got a few bits and pieces that we want to talk about today. A couple of bits that have happened in the last week, news-wise. Obviously, the release of the new No Way Home trailer, which we'll get stuck into in a little while. We've got a couple of sort of new pieces that we want to bring in, some bits that people have suggested that we want to try and talk about. And we'll chat about some news and obviously some comics and undoubtedly some Funkos and where the MCU is hopefully heading over the next couple of weeks. You guys been all right? Yeah.
Yeah, doing good. Off this week. So enjoying the holiday break with, Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday here in the US. So
nice. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well. Bought in excitement for some new stuff in the MCU. I bought a Wilson Fisk Funko the other day, so
nice.
I'm kind of excited about that. It's on the way, so yeah, I got another cool Funko I'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I'm doing great.
Excellent. I'm in the process of upping my Funko display game. I'm just waiting for a specific piece of furniture to arrive in stock somewhere at a local store near me, and I'm going to go get it. And I've got a proper setup. You guys are going to be super impressed.
That's awesome.
Super impressed. But yeah, that's not happening for a couple of weeks. Me and my youngest son, were sitting there last night planning it all out. Going, yeah, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to put light in, and we're going to get lighting and backgrounds and all sorts. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Nice.
I can't wait. But yeah, that'll be coming up. I'll share that up on the group in a couple of weeks. Hopefully by my birthday, I'll have that all sorted. Okay, so something we was going to do, or we've done it a little bit in the past. We've kind of mentioned our top contributors on our Facebook group, and fundamentally we do this because we enjoy talking about Marvel, but B, because we run this Facebook group and we like sharing ideas and that have come back and forward. And maybe in recent episodes we haven't done that so much, so we're gonna try and sort of at least mention these guys today and see if they can give us some good content to talk about on our podcast. But so just as I'm not going to necessarily run down it as a list, but some top contributors over the last week or so. We've had our ever stays like Ray, Mark, and Mark, and Mike Sullivan's there. We've got some new people that are sort of showing their faces. So Bridget yes. Guzman coming in, being really active. So that's great to see new people coming into the group and being confident enough to stick theories out there, put posts in. We're not going to accept everything. Sometimes we sort of look at some posts and we go, no, do you know what? That's not really going to add value to our group. But keep popping them in, and we'll accept some. We might decline some. Don't take it personally. But we've got people like Matt Parker, who comes up with some really interesting stuff. I've really liked Matt's theories recently and his suggestions about certain things that are happening. And then we've got Fred giving us his agree or disagrees, which we
fantastic post.
Yeah. We love him. And do you know what? I love him even when I completely disagree with him. And I loved what he said in the past, what Fred said in the past about his agree or disagree. That it's not necessarily his opinion. He's just trying to start a conversation.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there usually are good conversation and good comments, and, people sometimes going back and forth about their view and trying to explain more things out. And so I actually like those posts. I look forward to them.
The one recently about Agatha Harkness, I really liked that one. I thought that was a really good post, and I saw a lot of people discussing like whether or not she needed a show or not, and I really liked that discussion. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, and then people also think, are they adapting House of M, with House of Harkness title role, and then it's like people are like, well, what are they going to do with her? I'm like, they have so much they can do with her because they can go back in the past, who she's come across. they can go forward with her ties to Fantastic Four and being the Richards nanny. So a lot of things they can do. And Alex, you had some good comments on there too about that, of, you know, how they could tie the Darkhold into that.
Yeah, how they could basically like use the Darkhold and kind of like maybe use it as like a kind of like one of those artifacts that's been throughout history, and just kind of like touch on like the fall of Atlantis, vampires, werewolves, you know. They could talk about the creation of chaos magic and the creation of the Darkhold, and if other witches have had it, or if Dracula went after it, you know, just all kinds of things. And then even take it all the way up until like a modern day Midnight Suns, you know, maybe she loses the Darkhold or something to somebody at some point, like decades before WandaVision, and you know, they go through that, and I don't know. But yeah, so that was just kind of my 2 cents.
I think with the sort of the ancient history of the Darkhold and the fact that it's been around for so long, it can play a part in all of those stories, can't it? And we can see that. So yeah, that was a good shout from Fred to stick that comment up there and get that conversation going. And just
also,
go on. No, go on, Jared.
So it also makes you wonder too if she came across any Eternals too, because we know that Agatha has been around for a lot of years, with her gaining her powers and stuff. So, you know, has the Darkhold come across any of the Eternals? Has Agatha crossed paths with any of the Eternals? And if there's one Eternal that I'm going to put money on, will be Cersei, because in times in the comics she's seen as a witch also.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, got that in common. Yeah, that was when men just didn't understand that women were intelligent, so they just called them witches, unless they were actually witches, which we've got a couple of in the MCU. But just something that I was trying to get out earlier. One of Bridget's posts, not necessarily posts, actually, a bit of a flip flop from Bridget. She come on a few weeks ago, didn't she, saying that she didn't actually like Shang-Chi very much.
Oh yeah.
And it was great because a lot of people come on there, and she even recognised the fact that she was going to get a bit slated for it. And to be fair, I think people were fairly placid with it, but they were, you know, going, oh, you know, you should look at it again. You should look at this. And then actually, she turned the corner, didn't she? Like, actually, on second watch, it was it was good. And then people were saying, oh, look out for this and look out for that. And she sort of completely changed her mind. And it was a really nice kind of evolution. Excuse the pun, but it was a bit of an evolution of her own enjoyment of one of the MCU movies through our group, which was beautiful to see, actually.
Well, yeah, I think because she went back, because before she watched it, she didn't see the one shot or the assembled episode, I believe. And I think she said she went back and watched those and then watched the movie again, and it kind of helped change her view on how she saw the movie. So.
Brilliant. And that's where our group can really help out, because if people can keep those kind of discussions, you know, we don't mind people agreeing or disagreeing with what people are saying. Like we said, that's what Fred's posts are all about. Yep. But when it can be done in a really cool way, like it was, and it's not offensive, it's like, well, look, do you know what? Did you see this? Because if you didn't, it might be worth going back and re-looking at something and having another watch and seeing if you change your mind. And if you don't, you don't, you know, horses for courses, as they say. So yeah, so that's really big. We've had some really good contributions over the last week or two. So we're going to try and keep doing that, try and keep highlighting you guys that are contributing to our group and bringing some really good discussions and theories. After all, that's what DNC is discussions and theories. So that's what we want more of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So good stuff going on in the group. Let's talk about what's going on in the world of the MCU and other Marvel stuff. So, Jari, in regards to news, I know we've got quite a lot, and I know you're going to do a news episode this week and cover lots of bits, but we've got one movie that's getting some sort of attention in the news recently, haven't we?
Yeah, so Wakanda Forever, some controversial things came out. So recently, the VP of Development, Nate Moore, has said you will not see T'Challa recast in the 616 universe movies. Or universe. So Wakanda Forever is a story without T'Challa. So that's interesting, but it's interesting to say that he mentioned 616 universe, you know, specifically. And what he went to say is, I will say chances that you see T'Challa I'm not hedging my bets. I'm being quite honest. You will not see T'Challa in the MCU 616 universe. We couldn't do it. I will say when Chad passed, it was a real conversation we had with Coogler about what do we do. And it was a fast conversation. It wasn't weeks. It was minutes. It was minutes of, we have to figure out how to move this franchise without that character. Because I think we all feel so much of T'Challa in the MCU on the screen is tied to Chadwick's performance, is what he brought to that role, both on and off screen, I would argue. So as hard it is now, we got to figure out what to do because it's a big hole. At no point do we consider recasting him. The challenge for Black Panther Wakanda Forever is telling a story without T'Challa. And I think it's a challenge we're up for. And obviously we're in the middle of it and we're figuring out, and what we're getting so far is great. But the challenge of the movie is to entertain people, but there will be a level of catharsis in people coming back to this universe without that guy, because that guy and that universe are one and the same. As filmmakers and storytellers, you have to figure out how people are going to feel going into your movie and what you want that movie is going to say about that guy who's not going to be in your movie. And there's also now a petition to recast T'Challa, which is picking up steam as well. So let's kind of take a step back here. A couple things. 616 universe is very specific.
Very specific.
Yeah. So that means there could be a multiverse angle. But the one thing that really got me is that they had a quick conversation about this. That's the one thing that bothers me about this whole situation, is it was a quick conversation, not months, not weeks, but minutes. And with this, how long T'Challa was the Black Panther in the comics, like multiple decades in the comics, to see, you know, that character not be thought of to recast and decide on that quick. And, you know, I understand, you know, with Chadwick Boseman, because he nailed that role. You know, he pretty much embodied what T'Challa was and his performance of him. But to say not again in this universe is interesting. You know, I understand with Wakanda Forever, it's too soon, and there's ways they can get around that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, to just say completely rule that out after a minute of discussion, I think that's a bad move by Marvel Studios.
I agree with the minutes thing. Somebody said it, and I'm sure somebody said it on our group. If not, I've heard it somewhere else. But somebody said it was, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it was something like, don't make a decision when you're angry or when you're emotional.
Yes.
And don't do, but I can't remember the exact words that was used. But the point is that obviously, and rightly so, you know, fresh off of the sudden death of a young man, yeah, everyone's going to be emotional. Everyone's going to say emotional things, and that's exactly what should happen as well. But it does sound a little bit like that, doesn't it? It does sound like they've kind of gone in and everyone's gone, no, we definitely can't recast him. He's the only T'Challa. We're not doing it again. Done, finished. And then everyone's walked away and then gone, actually, hold on a minute. I don't know. I just think, yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, Joe, and I think
it's a rash decision, I think.
Yeah, I agree. What do you reckon, Alex?
I agree with you guys, and the only reason that I think that should have been a short conversation is if they were just like, you know, like, oh, let's not recast him, end of conversation. But, you know, if they kind of just like, you know, are going to just continue with Black Panther stuff, they kind of need to recast him, in my opinion, because like Black Panther is such a major part of Marvel, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's involved with a lot. He was kind of built up to be a large center point in the MCU at this point. So like they have to do something there to kind of move forward. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a little bit of a struggle to like build that character up and then just kind of be like, all right, well, we're going to do something different, but it's still going to be in that area, but not really about that one character. So
yeah,
you know,
I get that. I do. I agree. And I agree with you, Joe. And I get the not recasting for Wakanda Forever. That was probably too soon.
Yep.
And there are certainly ways that you can tell a Wakanda story. I'm not going to say a Black Panther story, but you could, you know, there are other Black Panthers, so you could do it. We've discussed it before in the past about how they could have told that story without T'Challa. But I do think he should be recast at some stage.
Yep.
And I think to say never is, don't know. But then we've said this millions of times before. Who are we?
Yeah. And I have no issue with Wakanda Forever doing it, you know, by committee, because obviously MCU wise, we know Shuri's not ready, and trying to explain that she's ready in the next movie is going to be a lot. I could see like a Black Panther by committee. Yes, Black Panther is usually tied to royal blood, you know, getting the herb and that kind of stuff and taking the mantle. But, we have prominent characters like Okoye, who could be the Mantle for a little bit. She's a skilled fighter. We have M'Baku, which I'd love to see him go full man ape as Black Panther, as the Black Panther mantle. So you got people in there that can help with, by committee of it, until at some point they decide to recast, because again, T'Challa was a long staple in the comics as Black Panther. Shuri was a blip, and nothing against Shuri or anything, but she was a blip, and now it's back to T'Challa in the comics. So it's just interesting how they're doing that. And I think our last episode we talked about, or 2 episodes ago, that heavy rumor about how they're going to possibly continue the T'Challa line. I'm not going to go into that now, but that's still going to take a while.
Yeah,
for that to play out, that scenario, if that's true.
And they don't have to recast that character anytime soon. It could be a few years from now, and that would be a lot better received than it would be now, I think.
Yep.
But if they wait like a decade to recast that character, that's like way too long, in my opinion,
Or when this storyline that they're currently on in this universe runs out, they reset the whole universe and do it all over again, which that could be the 616 comment that we'll never see him until they reboot the whole MCU and we see another Iron Man, another Captain America, and another T'Challa then, which I think is too long to do. I think it's a mistake if they don't do anything within this universe at all.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and a petition.
Yeah.
A petition's been started. I always see them. I don't know if you guys get them in the States, but over here in the UK, we get petitions run by the HMRC. And they come out on Facebook basically, and you sign a petition. I've always looked at them. I do. Sometimes I will, if it's something that I'm really passionate about, I'll go on. But I don't believe they actually make a difference. I don't know. Maybe they do. I'm not sure. But I mean, come on, really?
I mean, we got the Snyder cut because of feedback. We got the Zemo cut. If there's enough traction out there, it could happen.
I signed one for a Bring Back Daredevil one, so.
Right, so if you're listening, get on there. If you agree with us to recast T'Challa, sign up. But brilliant. Okay, cool. So let's move on from Wakanda Forever to other.
There's more news for Wakanda Forever though.
Of course there is. Sorry, go on.
Production is now on hiatus until 2022. So Marvel released a statement on this. And it says, as we wind down for the holidays, we want to send a note of thanks and appreciation for the hard work of our entire cast and crew, as well as an update on timing. First and foremost, this project is exceptional and something we know the audience are eager to see. We could not be any more excited to complete this film and share it with the world next year. Thank you for everything you've done to get us to this place. Unfortunately, we have not gotten here without a few setbacks. Running a production of this scale in the midst of a pandemic is not an easy task, and you have remained diligent and professional throughout. In addition, as you are all aware of, Letitia, who plays Shuri, Letitia Wright, had a frightening accident on her set during a stunt back in August. It was a reminder of the importance of safety at all times in our work, which we know you understand and are committed to. What we initially thought were minor injuries turned out to be much more serious, with Letitia suffering a critical shoulder fracture and a concussion with severe side effects. It has been a painful process, and Letitia has been home recovering with her doctors and the support of family. We've adjusted our production schedule so she has time she needs to heal, but there's only so much we can do without Shuri. We also want to thank Letitia for everything she's going to get back, or for everything she's doing to get back to the set. We know how much she loves this role, how tough it's been for her to be away, and how hard she's working to recover as quickly as she can, as safely as she can. We are eagerly awaiting her return. We all know we will all come back stronger together. Please be on the lookout for more information on your specific return to work date. As for now, we're on schedule to resume filming with Letitia in January 2022. We are all focused on finishing the movie with excellence, honoring the memory of our dear brother Chadwick in the process. We are thrilled to share Black Panther Wakanda Forever with the world, confident that the challenges that we have overcome together as a team will make the film more impactful. Please take care of yourselves and enjoy the holidays. So this is kind of what they sent out, like a bulletin they sent out. It's like the production crew, staff and that kind of stuff that was shared by the outlets. So number one, it does sound like her injury is more serious than led on. So hopefully that she heals and they can get back. But, this already being pushed out to January, hopefully this doesn't affect the dates. But the other thing too is that, it's her decision whether she wants to get vaccinated or not. My only comment is that she's not a U.S. citizen, and the requirements for any non-U.S. citizen to enter the states where they're filming down in Georgia, you have to be vaccinated. So I wonder if that has anything to do with the delay as well, because she's been, outspoken about not being vaccinated. Again, her decision. I don't care. I'm just mentioning the requirements for non-U.S. citizens entering the U.S.
Yeah. So there's lots of ifs, buts, and maybes as to what's going on, but it's obviously putting it back quite a way, because it's already been stalled, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's not like they've been working up until now and now they're stopping. They've not done anything, I don't think.
No, so reports have they've been doing everything they can without Shuri on set.
Right. Okay.
So
gotcha.
from all the reports I read out there, so they have been doing stuff, and they're probably just at a point where they can't do any more until she comes back.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So because it did stop, didn't it? It actually stopped before, when she first got injured. It stopped for a bit, and then okay. So what it looks like, they went back to carry on filming, and then they've got to a point where they're like, well, we can't do anything else until she gets back. Yeah,
because there's screenshots of her, of them filming in Massachusetts at MIT and that kind of stuff. So they have been filming that kind of stuff, and she has been stateside, but now that she's back over, I think in London, where she's at now, that. Coming back is going to be a challenge unless she gets vaccinated, unless they change the rules.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. They were, unless they change the rules specifically for Marvel Studios and Disney, which they may well do. At least they've not got to film it in Austria. She wouldn't be allowed out of the house if she lived in Austria. Anyway, we won't go into that. It's not a political show. Well, I mean, fingers crossed it won't delay anything.
Yeah, it's the third movie for next year on the slate. It's the late one next year. So
yes,
is it after Love and Thunder?
Yes, I thought Love and Thunder was more in the middle. That was Multiverse of Madness, Love and Thunder, and then Wakanda Forever. So I think Multiverse of Madness was kind of like in May, and I think Love and Thunder was the summer.
Yep, July 8th.
Yeah, and then I think fall was Wakanda Forever, like November, October.
November 11th.
Okay.
Yep. So it's the last one. So that gives it a bit more time, doesn't it?
Yep.
Cool. Excellent. Well, that does wrap up our Wakanda Forever news, and we move on to the other movie that's had big attention in the last week, and that's Spider-Man: No Way Home. With obviously that new trailer that dropped, that there was so much anticipation for, and I was worried, and I know that a lot of people were worried about watching it as well. I wasn't the only one. I know Rob was worried about watching it, Rob Bush. I know Mark was a bit worried about watching it. I know, but didn't Jack Turner just say he was going to mute everything?
Yes.
Just go away for the next month. So a lot of people have kind of been, no, I'm not going to watch it, but I don't think there was a way I was ever not going to watch it. I couldn't have done this. We couldn't have come on. We've got Luke in next week to talk about what we expect from No Way Home. There's no way I could have not watched it, and I did watch it. And actually, it didn't really. I mean, it revealed not much more than what we'd already seen.
Yes and no, because it kind of confirmed at least 5 villains right now. I know at first I thought there were 6 because there's a picture of William Dafoe with an upgraded. As Norman Osborn with an upgraded Goblin uniform, which I thought was maybe the Goblin, the other guy, Franco's Goblin, or even maybe a Hobgoblin type role as well. But it looks like it's Dafoe with an upgraded Green Goblin costume.
Yeah, I hope it is, because I think having a Defoe's Goblin and another Goblin, it's almost like a waste of a space, isn't it? Like, you might as well go, could we have got somebody different in there? But
it's almost like a repeat of a character almost,
Well, unless they do it like this one, because one of the things, the trailers you're seeing, Stark Tech is still pretty prevalent in the Spider-Man series in the MCU. Because it looks like, because we saw Jimmy Fox's Electro with an upgraded costume, getting the proper Electro headpiece in one of the shots, but it looks like he has an arc reactor in his chest.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. Yeah, and then the other one too is it looks like that Doc Ock does get upgraded tentacles with Stark Tech as well, because you see the nanotech stuff. So it looks like that maybe that they've somehow gotten their hands on Stark tech in these trailers. Now, a couple of thoughts here of mine is, could there be two Osborns? An Osborn from this universe and the Osborn from the Raimi universe. And maybe Osborn was the buyer from Homecoming who bought the Stark Tower, then Avengers Tower. And remember at the end of Homecoming, all that Stark tech was basically all over that area in New York. So did Osborn, collect all that? Did he get that back? Of the Osborn of this universe, and that's how they're getting the Stark tech. They come over to this universe. They somehow, meet with this Osborn. They get the Stark tech, and that other shot that we saw in the trailer of the upgraded Goblin costume is that this universe's Osborn becoming Goblin. And there's two of them. Who knows? That's my guess. The other one is we never know what happened to the Tinkerer from Homecoming. Adrian Toomes tech guy. So, is he the one giving them all this Stark tech to help them upgrade as they come over? Because something is still afoot here, and we have no villains or no connections to Holland's the MCU.
Yeah,
Spider-Man villains.
All
the villains are Raimi's villains. They're from the original trilogy or from the Amazing Spider-Man trilogies, or not trilogy, but 2 movies. So is that 6th villain, going to be uncovered that way behind the scenes? Is Toomes kind of pulling the strings and helping the Tinkerer out? Does Ned go full Hobgoblin in this movie? Is Mysterio dead? Because we do see that there is some Mysterio ties to it a little bit, but we don't know if Mysterio's in the movie. So
I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, if we did see Michael Keaton.
Or we saw the tease of Mac, aka Scorpion, at the end of Homecoming. Are we going to see that J. Jonah Jameson tied to Scorpion, and that's how we get Scorpion in the MCU? I can't believe that we won't have at least one Holland villain in this movie, and to make it a proper 6.
And it seems weird that they would only show us 5 and there not be a Sinister 6. You know what I'm saying? It's so close to the edge. It's like you have to have a 6th villain in there to make it the Sinister 6. And with the Mysterio thing, it's like Edith confirmed that he was dead. And
did she? But was it another?
Was it a ruse?
Remember they hacked the tech too, and they had their hands in the tech, so they have any kind of back doors, any kind of ways to still get into the tech and change things up. To that as well. So
I'm thinking that the reason we haven't seen this 6th person isn't because it's one of them, because why would they not want to show us the Vulture and why would they show us the other ones and not show us Vulture or not show us Mysterio?
It's got to be surprise.
And that surprise, I'd put some money on it that it's going to be Venom.
It probably. Well, we saw with the if you haven't seen Venom, stop listening for a little bit. Spoiler alert. But we saw in the closing credits of Venom that he did come over to this universe, and they saw Holland. So could it be Venom? It could be. Honestly, I don't think Venom is going to be in the movie. I could see Venom in a post-credit scene of No Way Home, one of the post-credit scenes. I don't think he's going to have any kind of substantial role in No Way Home. And Brock is not a villain; he's a hero. Per se, he's not like a hero or a villain. He's kind of, I guess, does what he wants type of thing. But he still played the hero role in both films, because he stopped the riot in the first one, and they stopped Carnage in the second one. So,
I agree. He's not a traditional villain, is he?
Yeah.
But I just don't know. That all seems a bit too suspicious for me. The big shake and the big sort of funny noise, and Venom and Brock didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden they've got this on the TV where that wasn't on the TV before. It was like some show, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's Tom Holland on the TV, and they're looking at him and thinking, look, this guy, So I don't know. Going back to the Stark tech thing, I've got a feeling that the tech that we saw on Doc Ock's tentacles, I've got a feeling he might have absorbed it from the Iron Spider suit.
I thought about that too.
Nanotech.
Nanotech.
Nanotech. Yeah, exactly.
But they also do. But during that scene, though, they show him still with the suit on, kind of climbing up after that Doc Ock grabs him and says, "You're not Peter." So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's through the multiverse, the way they come through, they get upgraded on trans. I don't know, but it's just So
Well,
I was wondering. Sorry, Alex, go on.
I was just gonna say it's interesting seeing that we know of at least two of those villains have Stark tech, or what looks like Stark tech, and it's interesting thinking about like Lizard, Sandman, like would they somehow get Stark tech as well? You
they
know
really
what I'm
don't
saying?
need
Like,
it though.
yeah, they don't. But like like if they're gonna upgrade a few of the villains, they might as well give them all Stark tech.
Well, then you
like,
see, Goblin
I
2
mean,
in that trailer shot of Goblin 2 looks like he's got upgraded as well. So that there goes Goblin, Doc Ock, and Electro all with upgraded tech, which is probably all Stark tech.
Yeah.
So
we will see, we shall see. I've got a feeling that do you know what? I thought for one moment that this movie would be the most important movie in the next, within this kind of 5 years surrounding it. I'm not sure whether it's going to be as important as I first thought in regards to affecting the rest of the MCU. I know that they're opening the multiverse, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting that feeling. Are either of you getting a feeling that's similar to that or not?
yeah, I think it's more going to be more beneficial for the Sony Spider-Man universe than the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think Multiverse of Madness is going to be the one that's going to have the big impact. Outside of Loki, outside of Quantumania, it's going to be Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I think tail end of No Way Home is going to be kind of like the soft intro into Multiverse of Madness, kind of like prepping us for what's to come in Multiverse of Madness type deal. I'm kind of hoping that like at the end of No Way Home, we get like it would be kind of like a weird end credit scene, but like one of those, like Wanda shows up in front of Doctor Strange and is like, "Oh, Doctor Strange, I need your help." And then boom, like it's over, like that would be a cool little end credit scene or something like that. But yeah.
Or the Illuminati grab Strange as an end credit scene.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Who would be in the Illuminati?
So since we don't have Black Panther, we don't have Stark, and we don't have any of the others, but there's a lot of rumors out there that Professor Xavier is making an appearance in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they grab someone like Mordo as part of the Illuminati. Because remember, Mordo, his whole thing was no more sorcerers. He was, with the whole magic thing. So maybe they grab someone like Mordo to be as part of the Illuminati, and then maybe they invite Strange to it, or they bring Strange in and say, "Look, you need to control this stuff. It's getting out of control." So,
maybe
it all
that's the founding of the Illuminati is this event.
Exactly.
Like,
I reckon that's a good point.
Or maybe it's someone else from another multiverse that pulls, because now the multiverse is open. We could have, because like I'm sure Professor X, if it's him being on there, that he's coming from a different universe. Mm-hmm. They can pull maybe someone else from a different universe. Maybe we're gonna have Namor coming up. Maybe it's a tease with Namor. Maybe, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see Black Bolt, but I don't think they're going. We're gonna see humans for a while.
No, I agree. I still like the idea that a lot of these events happened at the same time as such. Like the Sylvie stabbing He Who Remains to death, Wanda using the Darkhold, Strange casting this spell, or I don't know. I like the idea that it's kind of like a convergence of spells that's kind of just, it was too much power or too much, I don't know,
stress
something
on the multiverse.
Yeah, too much stress on the multiverse, and that's what's kind of caused this to happen, rather than one particular thing. It's all of these things that kind of just by sheer coincidence happened at the same time that's caused it to fracture. I like that idea. I think that would really tie all of these different elements together. You think we've had elements from WandaVision which happened in our time 10 months ago. Loki that was in the middle of the year, and then No Way Home that's happening now. So this whole year, 2021, was the reason that the multiverse has opened, and that's going to start us off from 2022 in Multiverse of Madness, and maybe get wrapped up in Quantum Mania or something. Maybe, I don't know.
So what if it's Loki coming through?
Yeah,
grabbing Strange, Loki or Story coming through. And maybe they're on Illuminati as replacements. One of them is. With all this going on, or what if it's some tie-in to Quantum Mania? Because sometimes these end credit scenes, it's not always the next movie, but it's a few movies jump ahead. So what if it's Ant-Man coming to the portal?
Yeah.
Coming in and saying, grabbing Strange and saying, hey, or so, I don't know.
What if they make the Illuminati like a council of reeds like organization where it's like Doctor Strange from this universe and 5 other universes send somebody to kind of like, oversee the multiverse or you know what I'm saying? Kind of make it like a multiversal thing instead of like an actual just one universe thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would lose my shit though if it's Jeffrey Wright as a live action watcher coming through and saying, Strange, I've watched long enough. Now I must interfere. I need your help. Type of thing. I would lose my shit in the movie theater. I think I would lose my shit more than I did in the end credit scene of Eternals. Sorry for cussing.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's all good.
In What If too, he also kind of built a rapport with a Strange too. So like he's dealt with a Doctor Strange before, although an evil version, but
And we know there's rumors of some of the What If stuff crossing over to the MCU live action. So what if it's Captain Carter?
Yeah.
Or it'd be kind of cool though. We know America Chavez is going to be in Multiverse of Madness, and we know that she's interdimensional hopper with one of her powers. What if she comes through and grabs Strange? That'd be an interesting one because we know one of these. We know at least one of these way this movie sets up. One of these is going to lead into Multiverse of Madness. The other end credits is probably most likely going to set up with the Sony universe. Like maybe we get a shot of Kraven throwing a spear or something at Parker. I don't know, or just a shot of Kraven watching Parker.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It'd be interesting. I don't want to go too much further into it because obviously next week we've got Luke from Hydra Collectibles coming back on, and as we know that Luke's a massive Spider-Man fan, so we're going to use Luke's knowledge to sort of probe away at as a Spider-Man preview because obviously it's out soon. Actually, sorry, that's not next week, it's the week after. But Luke's coming back on, so it'd be good to get into his mind and what he thinks about Spider-Man.
I do have one last Spider-Man news. Well, not Spider-Man, but Spider-Man universe news. So Michael Keaton was recently on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he has confirmed his return as Adrian Toomes / the Vulture for Marvel. He only said that he's shooting some Vulture stuff for a mystery Marvel project. So is that going to be maybe some stuff to tie in more stuff reshoots for Morbius? Maybe. Will we see him possibly in Multiverse of Madness? Because I think it's too late in the game to see him for him doing anything new shooting for No Way Home. I think it's too late in the game. So
I agree.
It's got to be either Morbius reshoots. It could be Multiverse of Madness. Maybe something for Kraven. Maybe, but no, because Kraven's not coming out, hasn't started production yet. So it's either going to be Multiverse or Madness or Morbius reshoots, most likely. In my guess. So
cool. Just backpedaling a second because I just went to my phone to find a note that I needed to read out, and we was talking about Fred's, and it was still on Fred's search because I was looking up his last agree or disagree, and we got a live agree or disagree. Right? So you ready? And it's really, really relevant to what we've just spoken about. So agree or disagree. Number 79, by the way. So well done, Fred, for giving us 79 agree or disagrees over the last sort of 11 months or so. Trailers give too much away.
That's a good one. I'm going to say disagree. I say that they don't give too much away. Because as we've seen especially with Marvel, because we've seen that they've put a lot of misdirection in the trailers. And I'll give you an example. Infinity War, the whole lineup run with the Hulk, that didn't happen. So that was a big misdirection. No Way Home, between the first trailer and this new trailer, they changed some of the stuff in the background with Doctor Strange. I think in the first trailer, it was in the daytime where he was doing some of the stuff. In this one, it's the nighttime. And you see that same purple that's coming across. And speaking of that purple, I had a thought. I posted this in the group. When I went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife last week, and they have a Morbius trailer on there. And the purple, when Morbius kind of flies and does all the bats, was similar to the purple in the last No Way Home trailer. I don't know if there's any tie to that, but I thought that was interesting. But anyways, I disagree. I think they use more of the trailer stuff for misdirection because we know a lot of times stuff from the trailers don't make the movie. We all knew about the character, the villains coming over. It's been talked about for months. So
Yeah.
I don't think anything in the trailers, at least for No Way Home, has spoiled anything.
Okay, Alex.
I disagree, mostly just because of Marvel. And I think back to that Black Widow trailer, and I think back to like how we questioned Taskmaster and the identity of Taskmaster and stuff. And it was like we knew who the villain was going to be, but we didn't know who the actual person was going to be, you know, like so like Marvel's like Jarian said, they're really good at the misdirection game. But also, like, you know, there's shots in like the No Way Home trailer where it looks like things have been changed, edited, altered. There's people not in that scene that might actually be there, you know.
Lizard like, punching at air.
yeah. And then there's like that one point where I'm standing, I'm like, why is Ned holding a crossbow? But you can only see like one little section of the crossbow or whatever. And it looks like there's some parts of that trailer where it's like they had like a wide shot and then they zoomed in and they took like a section of that shot and only used that little section in the trailer. So I don't know. Like I kind of disagree with that one.
Well, I disagree now, as in 2021. But I'd agree if you asked me that question about 10 years ago. I think, but for slightly different reasons, not necessarily about the story, but I mean, you know, computer generated imagery and the visuals that they're using in movies now has come so far that it's very hard to get blown away. But 10, 15 years ago, when that was just picking up pace and visuals were like, wow, that is incredible. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I take it back to Transformers, the first Transformers, and what Industrial Light and Magic done on that movie was just pretty incredible. And as much as you might not like the movie itself for the content of the movie or the way it was written or whatever, you cannot deny that the CGI in that movie was, in my opinion, and what Industrial Light and Magic did was pretty like not necessarily groundbreaking, but I think it set the bar for what can be achieved in computer generated imagery in this day and age in cinema. And actually, I remember watching the trailer and there was quite a few scenes where I was like, wow, that is incredible. And I think if I hadn't have seen that and then went into the movie to see it, it would have just completely, I think my mind might have melted that this wasn't actually real, you know, that these robots didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I think back then when those kind of surprises or those kind of things were fairly new, I think they probably did ruin the movies, or they did give away too much. But now I don't think they do, for the reason that you've both pointed out in regards to the misdirection that's obviously used. They're doing it on purpose. They're putting things in that they know full well are not going to be in the movie, and they're changing things from trailer to trailer to do that for that specific purpose, just to make you go, hold on a minute, that's not what I just saw. That's not what I saw in the trailer. So agree 10, 15 years ago and more, disagree now. I might write that in a minute. But anyway, let's move on. So, okay, well, we're going to come back to the MCU in a little while towards the end of the show. But we've got a couple of bits that are not necessarily about the MCU. But I'll tell you what, before we get stuck into Alex's little comics section, I've got a couple of new Funkos that I'm going to show. Alex, I know you've got a really, really cool one that you want to show on camera. So let's get him up first and let's have a look at your one.
All right, so I got this Pietro Maximoff. I don't know if you can see that really, really well or not, but
there you go.
It's the one from WandaVision. So
he's pretty cool.
Very, very cool. It's him running with the spray paint and
nice.
You know, the hair kind of poofed out and everything like that. He's got like a little trail, I think, behind him while he's running. But yeah, so I had to get that one. I absolutely love that Funko. It's just one of the coolest ones from WandaVision, I think.
Yeah. Nice. There's lots of cool ones from WandaVision, isn't there? Actually, I liked that. That was the first ones where there was such a massive range. You know, the black and white ones as well, and then the through the ages, and then the really cool ones towards the end, like the White Vision and the Wanda floating.
With the
they
dark
were really
hole.
cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah, they were really. That was a really great range of Funkos that they had for that show. But then, having said that, I guess that the show itself displayed such a range of characters, from the black and white characters through to the comic accurate characters, you know, with the little when they was at the jack-o'-lantern, when they were trick-or-treating, and then to the sort of more up-to-date costume ones, like we said, the White Vision and that, they were excellent. Tell you what I did see before I show you my new ones, was the Infinity
the colored ones. Yeah,
the coloured ones. So you've got the original 6 Avengers, and they're all in a different colour of the Infinity Stones. They look really cool close up. They look. I saw them Saturday, and they do look really, really cool. But it's one of those ones where, like, if I'm going to buy one, I want to buy all 6.
Oh, yep. You gotta have them all. Gotta have them all. Pokemon.
It is a little bit like that. Yeah, that's why I'm going.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's funny. I pre-ordered those on Amazon and they got delayed like a month out. So I don't think I'll get mine until maybe like the end of December or something like that. But so
I was there with them. On Saturday, and I was like, do I spend this amount of money on Funkos? I don't know. But I tell you what was really cool. So this is really cool. This is a little sort of family story, I guess. But so my youngest son, he's got a little pal. They're best friends through sort of little school, and they've just gone into senior school or high school this last September, and they've gone to different schools. They only live around. He only lives literally. I could probably throw a stone at his house from my front door. But they've gone to different schools. So obviously, 9 to 3, Monday to Friday, they're not seeing each other. But they still hang around loads. Like, he's always around our house, and they always hang around together and go skateboarding or whatever it is that they're doing. And he really loves his Marvel and his comics and stuff like that. But he always comes with us when we go to the comic store. He always comes with us all the time. And he gets a comic, and they love it in there. They run around for about an hour in there, and I love it as well because I can wander around looking at stuff. But anyway, this week, he said, we got to the comic store, and he said, Andy, he said, I've got a little bit of leftover birthday money. And he said, and I checked with my mum, and my mum said it was okay. He said, you always bring me here, and you always look after me, always give me dinner, and you always do this. He said, and I want to buy you a present. And I was like, Bob, I said, that's really nice of you. Thanks, mate. And he said, look, go and pick a Funko. And I was like, mate, that's quality. Absolute quality. I love that. I mean, he's like 11-year-old, and I was like, brilliant. I was like, and I've had me on this one, and it's the special edition Ronan from Captain Marvel. So
that's awesome.
He's really cool. Yeah, he's really great. And he's got I haven't taken him out of the box yet because I will. But he's got his hammer in there as well. So he's really cool. And he's a lovely colour as well, like that sort of greeny, turquoisey, sort of aqua colour. He's really nice.
Very shiny. It's very reflective. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He is shiny. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I put on the group the other day, I rearranged my Funkos in colour, like as a rainbow, and I've not got many green, so it goes in. And then my youngest son decided to buy, and again, he's not out of the box yet, but Thanos at the garden with his little knackered hand there, without the Infinity Gems in it, which is like, I really like. You see attention to detail, like Alex pointed out before we come on camera. Yeah, is really great. But yeah, so new Funkos for us. After I know you've been doing some research into some new comics that are coming out, Alex, and
real
some
quick,
new storylines that have been. Oh, go on.
Yeah. So did you guys see the one I shared today? So I don't collect Funko anymore, but you guys are really tempting that itch for Funkos again, but I can't. But I always look when I go to the store. And you see that Captain America one, where it's like Captain America was like branded with Funko all over. It's like a light blue suit, and it's like got little Funko logos all over him. That comes with a T-shirt, so that was pretty cool. But then I saw the Ragnarok Hulk one, and that thing is huge.
Yeah,
and it's so tempting because we go to Target or wherever. I'm always looking at them, but I can't buy them. It's like window shopping with them, and I look to you guys for collecting them. But there's some pretty cool Funkos out there.
Is that Hulk one, the fluorescent looking one?
No, it's his green Hulk, but he has the helmet on, and he has the weaponry from Ragnarok from when they're in the arena.
I've got the small version of that, but I have seen the big version of it. Yeah. But do you know what? I saw those Funkos, and there was the street art ones. Do you remember seeing those? The street art ones, and I liked them. They looked really cool, but you couldn't really tell who they were.
Yeah,
it was really hard to tell who they were because it was so busy. with the patterns and the art on them. Like I said, they did look cool, but even when you shared that one earlier on the group, I looked at it and I was like, I had to kind of double take of who it was. But yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more of that now. Actually, the t-shirts or a mug with it. I've seen that before. So
speaking of t-shirts, they had like a WandaVision one. And it had Vision. I think it was Vision from Paul Bettany's version of Vision when he had the hair and the human-looking version of him. And it wasn't a TV. The box was a TV set, and you kind of saw the shirt logo inside. I think that was pretty cool too, as well. So
yeah, I saw that. I saw that a little while ago. Nice.
Funko's also done this thing now where they do sodas, so you can buy like a little soda can.
Oh, really?
And you pop the tab on it, and it pulls the top off, and it has like a little figure on the inside of it. And you pull it out, and you have like a, depending on the figure, it's like a 1 in 10,000, or not 1 in 10,000, like 1 in 100 chance of getting a chase or something. Some ridiculous number they basically like make. But yeah, so like they'll do it differently. So like they'll do one for like Thanos, and one will have like the helmet, and one won't have the helmet. Or they'll do one for like the Flash, and it'll be like for the chase you get the reverse Flash instead of the regular Flash. So it's kind of cool how they do that.
Yeah, they just look like cans, don't they? Yeah, I've seen them in our shop. But I'm getting the guy that I don't think I've told you that there's a guy that sets up at our local market. It's like 5 minutes from my house. He's just signed a deal to have a little shop. It's like a little sort of little pop-up kiosk type shop, but it's a permanent place, and he's gonna be there every week, and he's gonna have all his stuff in there. So I'll have to get some video of that. I've been trying to get him on, actually, because I think he'd be a really cool guy to get on, because he's obviously got a real passion for toys and collections and Funkos and Marvel and things like that. But he's a busy guy because he's got a full-time job, and then he does this on the side, which has now turned into almost another full-time job. Yeah. So he's obviously a busy guy, but I'm going to try and tap him up in the next couple of weeks because he'll have a shop. So that'd be a good guy to get on and chat with. But anyway, look, as we said, Alex, you've been checking out some new comics. So what we got?
Yeah, so I just figured I would go through and look at some stuff that kind of relate to more recent things in the MCU and kind of just discuss those and bring those up about things that, might be happening or just things that we've briefly seen. So one of the things that I was going to mention was, I know a couple of podcasts ago, I think I talked about the Darkhold one-shots, which, involved Scarlet Witch. We've seen her with the Darkhold in the MCU. Kind of cool. There's the Darkhold Alpha #1. I think that's like the main issue. And then they're going to go through and they'll do one-shots for like each character that are focused in the first one. So you'll have like Iron Man, Blade, Wasp, Black Bolt, and Spider-Man also be in these. And I'm guessing that they're each going to get their own because they've already come out with Darkhold Wasp #1 and Darkhold Black Bolt #1. So, and those will be like, each hero kind of reads Darkhold, goes insane, has to face the traumas and the fears of their past and things like that. So those will be pretty interesting. And with the Darkhold, holding as much weight moving forward, it'll be interesting to see if the MCU ever touches on anything like that. The second thing I was going to say was Kang the Conqueror. We just had issue #4 come out. And this one's a very interesting little tie to the MCU too. It's about Kang trying to break the loop of time for Ravonna Renslayer and try and like change Ravonna's fate, I guess you could say. And, we just saw her in the MCU as well. So that'll be a little interesting little thing. Can he break the cycle?
Yeah, I think that's going to be that we could see a little bit of that in the MCU for sure. I think there's a version. There's something. I mean, I don't know whether our MCU Renslayer knows exactly what's going on, but she's certainly, she's working for somebody. She kind of believes in or wants to find out what this higher power is that she's been sort of devoted her life to. Will she get kind of swooned by Kang? Will he sort of smooth talk her? And I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe she's not in the know, like maybe she just is one of those where she's been on this mission for so long that, she's just like, she's stuck to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't think she is in there. I don't think she knows what's going on, but I think she believes in it. And I think that she is going to get kind of like persuaded and smooth talked into kind of being on his side, and he's kind of go, you've been my champion type thing. You've been the one that's been leading the charge and in charge of all these people.
What if, here's a twist, what if she ends up being on the Illuminati? What if the people that she's been talking to and going with is the Illuminati and kind of guiding her and watching over the whole Kang thing? What if that kind of twist? That would be an interesting twist.
That would be an interesting twist. Wouldn't see that one coming until now.
That would be.
Like that door she goes through in Loki, we see her coming through for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah, where's she gone?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting to find out where she's gone. Yeah.
Season 2 needs to come quickly.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. It does. Yeah, I think, and we've seen that story. That was the same story in Avengers Assemble, wasn't it? In the My Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where she was caught out of a loop or something.
She was caught out of the loop, and he had to go back and defeat the Avengers and try to save her, because something that Captain America did, being a man at a time, affected his future. And so, but then they conquered Kang in that one, but then they were going to try to help him save her. So
that's right. Yeah,
there was a storyline there, and I think it was Mighty's Heroes, or one of the two. But yeah.
Cool. Gotcha. Nice. That's going to be an important one, I think, Alex. So people should get hold of that, I reckon.
And I'll mention one last one, and it's we've got a new Hulk issue coming out, Hulk #1. It's by Donny Cates. Donny Cates has done stuff like Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's worked on some Venom stuff, some Thor stuff. He's awesome. Love Donny Cates. But this one doesn't come out here until I think the 24th. So we've got a few days. So don't really know much about it. It's just a new Hulk series, but it's interesting because, we're kind of in uncharted territory now with the Hulk. We don't know what the Hulk's going to be doing in the MCU. We know that we'll have She-Hulk coming in. So I don't know if this series is going to have She-Hulk at all. They might lean into what this is doing, but always like Donny Cates stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to put any World Hulk stuff in that series too as well.
Yeah, and it seems like this, based on what I've read about it, it seems like the series is going to be kind of like focused on the Bruce Banner side and the actual Hulk side. Like it's going to really look hard into both of them, and whether or not, it seems like it's going to do kind of maybe one of those big observation kind of like overviews of whether or not the Hulk and Bruce Banner, how they kind of melded the two for Professor Hulk. Yeah. So it seems like they might be trying to like lean into that a little bit here, but I can't say that for sure. So
where is the Hulk at them? No, like, I don't mean physically. Where is he, like in the world or in the universe? But where is the Hulk at the moment in the comics? Like, where is he at? Is he? I think the most up to date thing I've read from him is Clint killed him in Civil War 2, and then someone brought him back, didn't they? Who was it? Was it Red Skull or Sin that brought him back? Someone brought him back. I can't remember. He came back.
Was it the original Sin series?
Yeah, I think it was.
I have those. I'll have to go look. I have those downstairs.
Yeah, I can't remember, but that's the latest thing that I remember sort of reading him in. I don't know. I might have read him in something later since then, but that's the last thing I can remember. Has anybody got anything more up to date than that? Either of you guys?
I haven't read much about the Hulk lately.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. That would have been a while ago. That would have been, when did Civil War 2 come out? 17, 18, 17. 17. Might have been earlier than that. I think it was earlier than that, actually, because they were trying to capitalize on Civil War coming out when that happened. So if that was 17 when he died, it must have been, the original Sin must have been 17, 18 at least. So I'm not sure what he's been up to in the last couple of years. I haven't read that yet. But that'd be interesting to see where they go with that show, with that comic, Alex, for sure.
I mean, that's pretty much all I've got for things that I thought I saw. I mean, there's all kinds of other stuff we can always talk about more next time if we want to, but just nothing really that I thought would probably tie to the MCU that well.
Yeah, and it's nice to look at the new stuff that's coming out. I mean, I'll go completely the other end. I was having a conversation. I'm sure I brought it up last week, but I was having a conversation with Mark Relaford on the group about something or other, and we was talking about how old the X-Men were when they first came to, were in the pages, were in a panel. And so I went back and had a look at when they first appeared. And the only age that was 100% confirmed was Bobby Drake, was Iceman, because they said that he was 16, and they said that he was a couple of years younger than everybody else. But then so he was a couple of years younger than, I guess, Cyclops, who was first called Slim, by the way, which I thought was really funny. But Cyclops and Angel, and but Beast was the oldest one. So they specifically mentioned that Beast is the oldest one. They don't mention how Jean is, but I thought that was quite interesting that there was that kind of that they were very young.
Yep, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, and it'd be great to see them portrayed like that in the MCU at some point. But I think going back the other end of comics and looking at some of that golden age stuff, it's fun, but it is quite difficult to read because it is all spoken in a different way.
The tone and
but nice. Go on, Alex. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say a lot of the older stuff. It's just like a little I guess for lack of a better term, it gets a little campy at times. Like it's a little like it's I don't know. It's kind of just like a little too old. I mean, most of that was written like 50, 60 years ago, like around that time. So it's like that. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but that's a big change.
Yeah, certainly.
So.
And talking of comics and tying into the MCU, we've obviously in 2 days' time got a huge thing that's coming out, which I'm really, really excited for. That really, really does tie in what looks like amazingly to a comic run, to Matt Fraction's Life as a Weapon run. We've got Hawkeye coming out on Wednesday, and we're going to have a little. We're going to just finish off the episode now by having a little bit of a chat about that and seeing where we think that might go. So, I mean, again, like I say, tying it into, if you guys listening haven't picked up Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, you've got 2 days. Get on Marvel Ultimate. Is it Unlimited? Marvel Unlimited. Get on there. Get down to your comic shop. Get it bought, get it read. It is fantastic. And it is clearly, I mean, I did read, and Jario might be able to back me up on this, that Matt Fraction had an executive producer role on the Hawkeye series. Yep.
So I was going to say that. So he was a consulting producer, and he said that I think credited as a consulting producer, though I'd have to check with my agent and probably just read the credits. But it's the best because I get to take all the credit and I get to cast. I get to cast Glory and David and Annie and hope none of the blame. I read the scripts and offered thoughts, and that was in sort of the throughout the process. I was supposed to be a tracksuit, so I was supposed to be in Tracksuit Mafia. Yeah, it was gonna fit, but between COVID, this was before shots were really happening, and my immunocompromised mother lives with us, and traveling was kind of a thing. And we got a pandemic puppy. So between quite feeling cool to travel and a puppy, I didn't get to be a tracksuit. So I was this close to being a tracksuit other than a consulting producer.
Oh, that's a shame. That would have been cool for him to get a little cameo in there, wouldn't it? But I mean, I've flipped through the pages again this last week before we come on for this episode. But it's so, the drawings, if you looked at it, if you showed an untrained, like if you just showed a child and just said, what's better, this drawing or some of these other drawings, they'd go, oh, these other ones, like the Fractions. I know Fraction didn't draw it, but that's not my point. But, if you looked at it, you would go, oh, no, it's not. But I'll tell you what, there's something really, I don't know what the word I'm trying to use is, but really endearing about the way that it's drawn as well. So, and I know that's not the writing, that's not down to Fraction, but in fact, who was it down? I could go and get it, but I'm not going to go get it. Not right now. It's really well. It's beautifully drawn as well. Really sort of subtle, and I think it really plays into that kind of fast-paced, conversations that go back and forward between Clint and Kate, between the tracksuit mafia and Clint, and then between the people at the party and Madame Mask and all those other people. I think the drawing really complements the writing.
Yeah, and so go ahead, Alex.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that with this new series coming up, one of the most interesting things I'm looking forward to is that big gap in time where he was Ronin, and I'm just curious to see who he rubbed the wrong way, like all the people he upset during that time. Like he's got like a laundry list of people that are probably gonna come after him. Like, so he's made a lot of enemies at this point. So.
And I guess that's probably what they're going to be dealing with, a lot of that.
Well, that plus her as well, because she wore the running suit as well in one of the trailers. So it seems that, she's been doing some stuff also, dressed as Ronin.
And I think that's probably where we're going to get that link up. So people were coming, like what Alex has said, people are coming after him because he was Ronin, but they're coming after her because she's dressed like Ronin. So they think that it was her. And then that's where that's how they meet up. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, I think that's probably a safe bet. And I also think, like, it's kind of weird, but like I'm really interested to see how this series ends. I'm curious to see where Hawkeye goes. I've seen those like people like optimistically being like, oh, like let's see him lead like the West Coast Avengers or something.
Which, he said he wants to.
Yeah. So that'd be awesome.
Do you know what? I don't see Jeremy Renner going anywhere. I really don't. I don't see him leaving the MC. Yeah. I was sitting there thinking to myself the other day, a little while ago, I wonder whether this will be his swan song, but I don't think it will. I don't think he's going anywhere. He'll be like one of those those ever stayers that will always be there, and he'll be the old man.
Yep.
I'd love to see that.
He's also said he wants to be old man Hawkeye as well in interviews. So
do that in 10 years' time. I'd love to see that.
What'd be great is doing a movie like Logan, but call it Clint.
Yeah,
in similar fashion. That would be great.
that would be awesome. Do you know what? I'd pay good money to see that. I would love to see that old man.
But it sounds like this is going to be the kicking off point for Kate Bishop in the MCU. And she was a couple things though. So during like some of their press tours, I'll just explain more of this on the news episode, but there was one thing that she did that kind of stood out. When they talked about, they were asked about young Avengers on the press tour for Hawkeye. Steinfeld gave Feige an awkward, Haley Steinfeld gave Kevin Feige an awkward stare when asked about that during the press junket. And the only answer was, it's only just the beginning was the answer. So that was interesting. And then also too, she talks about her future too on the press junket. So she said, I can tell you that Kate's story is beginning in this show that I'm so excited to be a part of. And I'm just so excited to be playing a character that people have been so excited to see on the big screen for some time. I feel very lucky, for some time. So we do know that that this is just beginning for her, and that whether it's Young Avengers, whether it's Thunderbolts or whatever, that she's going to be a staple for Kate Bishop as a long time. So
yeah, good.
We've kind of gotten those breadcrumbs for Young Avengers too, like over like the last few series. Like we saw Eli Bradley,
Elijah Bradley.
Yeah. We saw Tommy and Billy.
Yep.
We've seen Kid Loki, I think, was a Young Avenger at one
Kid
point
Loki.
too. Yeah, so like they're kind of laying the groundwork.
We got Stature probably coming with Cassie Lang.
Yeah, so she's definitely in Quantum Mania, isn't she?
Yep.
She's been cast.
Recasted too with a different person.
Yeah. And we've obviously got Kang and his variations.
Iron Lad
showed up for Iron Lad. Yeah. So the only ones the only one we haven't seen at all is Hulkling.
Yep.
So he's the only one we haven't seen.
Maybe we'll see him in She-Hulk.
Yeah,
potentially. So and you know what? And as much as I don't think they should just do it just to tick boxes, there's obviously the Hulkling and Wiccan relationship that that is key in the comics. Just their relationship in general is really key. And I can see I can see Marvel Studios wanting to show that relationship on screen. But yeah, I love Hailee Steinfeld. I think she's great. I think she's got good timing, good comedic timing. Seeing the Pitch Perfect movies. My wife loves those, and I like them as well. She's funny in those. She was definitely the best thing about Bumblebee, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing her in this role. And yeah, great that it's the first thing that she's gonna, or that her, the beginning of her story.
And they could always substitute too, right? Because we know Ironheart's coming, so she could be a young Avenger. What other series we have? Miss Marvel's coming, she could be a young Avenger. So they could change the line a little bit too as well. But we have a nice roster here of new characters coming into the MCU, where they could make some kind of a Young Avengers movie or series if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope they don't jump into it too quickly, though. I hope they don't go, full on with that, and forget that there's a lot of other stories to be told as well. Mm-hmm. But bringing it back to just Hawkeye in particular, the series. Looking forward to seeing. So in the Fraction story, there's a party that happens. And there's lots of influential bad guys at said party, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a very particular bad guy that I know Jarian's got a small piece of news that he could bring forward with old Vinny. Yeah,
so it seems like the chat out there that Vincent D'Onofrio coming back into the MCU is the worst kept secret. Pretty much. So it, hopefully we'll see him in the series. We know Echo's in there as a villain. We know Tracksuit Mafia. Yelena Belova is making some sort of appearance. We don't know what, and I have some stuff I can share about that shortly. But I think Echo is going to be a main staple, especially with her series coming, and her ties to Kingpin. So I wouldn't doubt that we see some tie to Kingpin as well. And go ahead.
Go on. No, go on.
And you mentioned some big party and all the villains and that kind of stuff. So remember Avengers Tower Buyer? Mm-hmm. And Homecoming, we don't know. We never knows who it was. Mm-hmm. We don't know where it's going. There's all kinds of speculation. Is it Baxter Building? Is it Osborn Tower? What else could it be? I know we saw in Loki that Quang Tower, whatever it's called, in Loki, but that could be in the future, a different universe. But what if it's a Kingpin? What that's his tower? There was a question asked about to Trin Tran, who's the executive producer of Endgame and Hawkeye. She goes, "Do you have any ideas? Do you have any answers? Do you want to speculate?" And then she goes, when asked about the buyers, "I'd love to hear any and all theories, and we'll see if it sort of fits into where I think it can be headed towards." So it's interesting that she's the executive producer of the show, and she makes that comment. So will we see some kind of, clue of what that tower is? Is it tied to Kingpin? Because there's heavy rumors on Kingpin showing up in the series.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for him not to show up, to be totally honest, in knowing how much the story draws on the Fraction series.
And he also tweeted too. He also tweeted and says, "I'm looking forward to this series. I can't wait." Something along those lines. That he actually tweeted about the series.
Oh, he's got to be in it, and he's got to be in it. He's got to be in it.
Either that, or he's just kind of
trolling.
I was gonna say he's putting the knife in our side. Like we watch it the whole time. We're like, oh, where is he? Where is he?
Is this what's it? Mephisto.
Yeah.
Is Is this the Hawkeye's Mephisto? I think it might be.
But come on, though, we got 2 series that he's gonna have heavy ties in the comics between Echo and Hawkeye. There's a rumored Daredevil series coming, whether it's a movie or it's Disney Plus series. So that's kind of, come on.
Yeah, no. I agree.
And the beauty in the Daredevil series, like I'm rewatching the Daredevil series now because it's just such a good series. But like, it's like Kingpin's like the one villain that never goes away in that series.
Yep.
Like he's always a problem, like no matter what's going on. Like, so they can just do that with him in the MCU, and everybody would love that, just put him in the back.
We kind of awesome too. We had that party of villains and that kind of stuff. Where we see Bullseye in there.
Yeah.
They kind of tease Bullseye because that new series Hitmonkey, they want to use Bullseye in this series, but Marvel told them no. Marvel said you can use Lady Bullseye, but not Bullseye. So come on. There's all kinds of breadcrumbs here, that we're having, Kingpin, Bullseye. Those are coming back, coming sooner than later. So why else would they say no?
So you say about Kingpin being he's always there.
Yep.
You said, Alex, and that's what I see, that reflection in Clint. He's always there. He's still there, isn't he? I mean, you look at the original 6. He's the only one that's actually. Well, I know that Bruce is still around because Thor's gone. He's off world. Steve's old and wherever he's hiding now, we don't know. Tony's dead. Natasha's dead. So, but Clint's still there. He's still doing the job. He's still going. And that's what makes me think that Jeremy Renner's not going anywhere.
He always gets drawn back in too, it seems like, what I'm saying? Like, it's like, he's like, all right, I'm getting out of this. Like, even in the MCU, he was like, oh, like, I have a family, we have a farm, like all that kind of stuff. Still get drugged right back in, right back in.
Remember his comments to Tony when he's like, I thought you were retired. He's like, played 18, shot 18, can't miss. And if you go watch the Hawkeye Assembled on Disney Plus too, where it kind of goes through Clint's history in the MCU, they go back to the whole thing with Ultron about him kind of keeping everyone together, that they need Clint, the whole thing with him and his wife.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. The whole thing there. And then the whole speech he gave to Wanda, you can stay here. I'll send your brother for you. You walk out that door though, you're an Avenger, type thing. And they showed him saving the kid. Yeah. Definitely make sure you go watch that Assembled because it's the whole Clint history in the MCU. And all those things that speak exactly to what you were saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. That particular scene that you just pointed out there, the one with him and his wife in their bedroom or wherever they are, she says something along the lines of, he says something like they don't need me or something like that, and she basically says the complete opposite, and she's like, no, they really, really do need you, and I think she's totally right.
Yep.
Yeah. One of my scenes with Clint that I think I've ever seen is that scene where he goes to get Wanda. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, disappointing my kids. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's just typical Clint. Like, he's like, I think he says something at that point where he's like, we were supposed to be water skiing, but instead I'm here doing this.
And he's the one that grabbed Scott too, to go to Germany, having the van. So
yeah, he's just that reliable guy, that that he's going to show up, that he's going to do his best, that he's going to be having achy knees and an achy back, but he's still going to do it. He's basically like John McClane.
Yeah.
He's just always there.
And this show does have a die-hard-ish feel to it as well.
And it's Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Christmas as well. So, just touching on something that you said a minute ago, Joan, which is something I wanted to get stuck in. Obviously, we've got Yelena that's we don't know for a fact, we, that she's going to turn up? Or
I have some news. So director Rhys Thomas on, Yelena's series role. I can't speak to that, but yes, we know their past and obviously what happened in Endgame. We know in the first 2 episodes that Clint's dealing with the fallout of that. But in terms of how they meet, I'll just pretend I don't know. Imagine it's a happy meeting where they talk over coffee and work things out. So we know she's in this right there. We know she's in the series. We just don't know when or what role, what capacity, but she's going to be in the series.
I don't think she'll play a massive role, if I'm honest.
I don't think so either.
I think it will, and I don't think she's. I don't think that they will have a massive conflict, maybe a little small conflict, but I think it'll be resolved fairly quickly, if I'm honest.
I think it'd be like when her and Natasha first met in Budapest, or in the safe house, or in Budapest where they met up at in Black Widow. It'd be similar to that, and then he'll be like, "I didn't kill her," or do something, and then they'll kind of stop, and then they'll have a chat, and that'll be it.
Yeah, because she's not stupid, is she?
No,
and she already in that post-credit scene, she didn't really seem to like Val very much. It was just kind of like, well,
convenience.
I'm working for you out of convenience or whatever. But so she's not a stupid person, and Clint's not stupid. They should be able to communicate with each other in a way. But I reckon what we might find is that Kate ends up having a bit more of a rivalry with her at the beginning. Like maybe that's the fight. Maybe that's the fight scene, Kate versus Yelena. And then that's where Clint comes in and sort of goes, hold on, what's going on? And then she,
Well, that would be a really interesting idea too, because you have like Yelena kind of taking up the mantle of Black Widow now, and then you'll have her also kind of taking up the mantle of Hawkeye. So it'll be like the next two in line fighting each other, and it'd be kind of like a repeat of when Hawkeye met, Black Widow, for the first time when he recruited her to S.H.I.E.L.D. It would be kind of like one of those kind of situations all over again. But
and speaking of Natasha, Renner did make some comments about Romanoff. He said there are giant reminders of Natasha in this series, reminders of things that tie into losing somebody, and reminders of all the beautiful things that come with a lot of pain as well. So
that's good. That's good, because it was like that in Black Widow, wasn't it? Like there was loads of Clint, loads of Bart, and loads of comments about Hawkeye and arrows and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be nice it's almost like repaying that recognition, isn't it? Like, so Black Widow's done it for Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's going to do it for Black Widow, and that'd be and it'll be extra nice, obviously, because Hawkeye, we know Clint Barton himself is obviously really close to Natasha.
And also, too, remember earlier how I was talking about Stark Tech?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We've got Stark Tech.
Have we?
One of the trailers, and I think I showed some pictures on the page, too. But one of the TV spots does show Barton working with Stark Tech for his arrows. So Stark Tech is still very prevalent in the MCU again.
Pepper's giving it to everybody, obviously.
Yeah, or just from the Avengers surplus, Yeah. They still have it.
Yeah.
Also, too, how about MCU Timeline? Where do you guys think this fits? I do have something I'll read, but where do you guys think it fits?
Before you read it, it's Christmas, so I'm going to assume that it's the end, like December of 2023, which, in looking at what's happened, it's going to be the latest thing that we're going to see, probably up until we see No Way Home. But even I would assume that it's going to be right around the same time. I don't know.
Alex?
I agree with Andy. I think it'll be probably December 2023. I mean, since it's Christmas, it's got to be. I don't think it'll be 2024, and I also don't think it'll be 2022 either. I think it'll probably be, post Endgame. It'll be one of those things where it'll be like, because with all that stuff with Ronan, that all happened in that time frame. So like it would be something like looking back. So it's got to be probably like the following year or something, like around Christmas time. So
at first I thought this is going to be the same time as No Way Home, and there was rumors before that there's going to be some crossover potentially with it. But Thomas also, the director, Rice Thomas, also shared the timeline. He said Clint's someone that we haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with, obviously, over the course of the films. We get to see where he's at. We're 2 years after the events of Endgame, and we get to see what he's been doing and how he's dealing with his past. 2 years after Endgame. That's what they said.
2 years.
What?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know. Unless that was a typo of the quote or what, but that's what it says. At 2 years after the events of Endgame.
So let's just wind back for a second. So, WandaVision, 2 weeks, yeah?
Yep.
We're happy with that one. That's pretty much confirmed. So they say it was a couple of weeks ago, yeah? So it's roughly 2 weeks, a month maybe at the most. Loki, it doesn't really count, does it?
Nope.
It was kind of all over the place. Falcon and Winter Soldier, am I right in thinking it was about 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah? And we had the whole blip, people displaced, etc., etc. Shang-Chi was 6 to 9 months afterwards. There was a pictures on the wall, blip anxiety or like anxiety about the blip or something like that. So similar to the things that we got in Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was also a comment in there about the Day of the Dead. That probably wasn't
that's
the
October,
Mexican
November.
Day of the Dead. Right, so October, November. So there you go. That kind of does make sense. Yeah. Eternals, we don't really know, but it did seem like it was around about that same time as Shang-Chi. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pulling Disney Plus. I'm pulling Disney Plus timeline because that's on there.
It's post blip, so it's got to be 2023 sometime. Like
Unless
he was misspeaking on that, but 2 years does seem kind of far out.
It does, and I know what the weather's like in London at this time of year. Kit Harington looked like he was wearing a big jacket, and so did everybody else in that park when Arishem came. So I'm going to say that it was in the winter of 2023 or autumn at least. So the end of 2023. So it doesn't, for me, that doesn't make sense that they're just going to go to 2024 because it's got to be Christmas. It's Christmas. So I don't know. That's weird. It'd be interesting to see what's said.
And right now, Phase 4 lineup on Disney Plus shows it's WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, What If, and then Shang-Chi. But we know Black Widow time frame wise is after Civil War. But right now, Shang-Chi is the furthest one out in the timeline. Hold on, look at timeline order. Let me do that again. That was his Phase 4. So timeline order, I'm sorry. Timeline order, it's Loki, it's What If, WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi. So right now, Shang-Chi is the furthest one out in the timeline order. And then No Way Home, I'm sorry, Far From Home. It's not on Disney Plus, so I can't see the timeline there. But we know on Disney Plus right now that Shang-Chi is the furthest one out. So Far From Home is probably going to be before Shang-Chi. I'm sorry. Yeah, Far From Home. Or is it going to be after? Because No Way Home and Far From Home are pretty much back to back.
Yes.
So.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure I trust that. But we'll see. Maybe it is set in 2024. I don't know. I would have thought that they would have tried to get us to catch up with them.
Yeah.
Rather than push them forward again. But I don't know.
What if it's like part of the series is earlier and the second half is later? Maybe.
Maybe.
Time jump.
Yeah, maybe. Any other thoughts on Hawkeye?
So a couple of things too. So I know we talked about Renner being kind of that always there in the MCU. He did say some things about his future in the MCU. He said, "I don't have a crystal ball, or I'm not a soothsayer." Which I don't know what that means, but having Haley come in and these characters, I think it opens up for 6 or 8 episodes for this event type of television. After that, I have no idea, but these 6 episodes are pretty exciting. He also went on to say that he'd love to see Hawkeye lead West Coast Avengers. And he also, like I said earlier, that he wants to be old man Hawkeye as well. So
nice. Just out of interest, where is it set, by the way, Hawkeye?
That was in New York.
Is it in New York?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I didn't.
Go ahead.
No, so I was just saying I didn't know.
And then another thing too about Hawkeye is that the producer Trin Tran, did mention the relationship between Kate and her mother, because a lot of speculation that her mother is Madame Mask. Why would they cast Vera? From it, I can't really say her last name properly, but why would they cast her in just this kind of a role? There's got to be more to her role, because she's not. She's I wouldn't say she's a big star, but she's a prominent star, right? In some of the roles that she's played. And so she goes on to say is, why haven't we had many opportunities to explore a mother-daughter relationship in the MCU? I'm not saying that hasn't happened, but it's just there hasn't been too many of that. And what I find interesting is that there's a lot of, I guess, fresh territory that we go to for the relationship for the two of them. She thinks she knows what's best for Kate, but Kate is, you've seen in the comics, is sometimes hard-headed, and she speaks her mind, and she's not afraid to do so. And there could be opposing opinions in who she is. So I think that, like I said, is more personal, more emotional between the two characters that I want to explore a particular direction for both of them.
Yeah, nice. Like I said, they haven't really gone too deep. I'm just trying to think of a mother-daughter relationship through scene one.
Yeah, the closest we kind of gotten is Natasha and Yelena, with the age difference, kind of that one, but that's about it. We kind of had, that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. We really haven't seen any mother-daughter relationships. So yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah, there's other stuff too that I'll share on the news episode. There's some good stuff on Alakwa Cox, who plays Echo. Yeah. But I'll share that during the new series. But one more thing I wanted to share: Feige did make a comment on if Spider-Man or anyone else appears in the series. He did make a quote on that, so I'll read that real quick. He said, "Marvel is the world outside your window. In the Marvel comics, yeah, Spidey could swing by at any moment. The Fantastic Four could come flying down. But even in the comics, it's what is the story you're telling, and that's really what always has to be the primary focus. Which in this case is very much Clint and Kate, getting to know more about Clint and getting to meet and know Kate, and everything in this series is focused towards that. But that's what he said. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some other hero cameo.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and if we do, is it going to be Daredevil? That'd be the main guess there, because we already have Alakwa Cox in here as Echo. We know they're trying to shut up Daredevil. I mean,
if they are in New York, it would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like he'd be right there, and so would Fisk. So
I think we might see somebody that we've already met. I think we might end up seeing Bruce.
Think Bruce? Maybe a call or something.
I think they might even try and set up something that I'm really hoping that they eventually get to, and that's that conversation between Clint and Bruce about how
Tasha.
Clint will kill Bruce or kill Hulk if he has to, because we've read rumors of this the World War Hulk storyline that could be potentially happening. We saw a little bit of Hulk, whether that's set before the snap and it's set in the blip, I don't know. But we've seen Hulk in She-Hulk where his arm's okay. Is there going to be something there with Abomination coming in, or the multiverse, or something that's going to set Hulk off? So does Bruce want to start preparing for the potential Hulk going mad? And like I said, I've always wanted to see that. It's the best thing about Civil War 2 in my eyes, is that little part of the story.
I guess it all depends when She-Hulk is.
Yeah, of course.
Is it during after or Infinity War Endgame time frame, and then a jump forward, and she wasn't in Endgame because she wasn't control her powers yet. But yeah, I could see that. I could see Banner making a roadie Falcon Soldier type cameo.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like we said, if you the original 6 falls off world, the only 2 that are still there, you can't include Steve because he's old.
Well, there is the musical.
Well, yeah, there is. Yeah, so you never know. Maybe Bruce comes to see the musical.
Yeah.
But the only 2 that are left are Clint and Bruce. So and for me, the Natasha connection with Bruce as well, it makes sense. But that's my guess. That's a guess.
So, real quick though, since they're doing the Steve musical, what if it's Sam?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe as Captain America. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows? Right, let's wrap that up there, then, guys. We've had a good chat today. Really varied conversation today. Spoken about lots of stuff: comics, Funkos, the group, Hawkeye. Lots of bits in there. No Way Home trailer, Wakanda Forever. Great varied conversation. It's been a great conversation. Lovely talking to you as always. And we will see you next week. We do have a guest coming on next week. It's not Luke, it's somebody different. And hopefully the guys listening will enjoy this episode and will enjoy that one too. So take care, enjoy Hawkeye. Sharon, you got one more thing to say? Just remember, Hawkeye, 2 episodes. Yeah. 2 episodes of Hawkeye on Wednesday. Yep. So enjoy that. And we will be having a little chat about that next week for certain. All right. Excellent. Cheers, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Why don't you tell them about the time we faced them?
All right. Well, as I remember.
At Avenger headquarters,